Gothic architecture, cyclical symbolism, mommy milkers. These are the unmistaken hallmarks of Dark Souls 1, and at the heart of those three equally important elements lies Anor Londo, once the city that Gwyn, the lord of being a disappointing final boss, constructed to consolidate his godly power after his great victory against the everlasting dragons, but now lies as a monumental testament to the theme of fading divinity that permeates Dark Souls. Also, fuck these Spear Knights in particular. Most importantly, at the apex of this city of gods, this Vatican on steroids celestial capital, sits Gwynevere, Princess of Sunlight, Gwyn's daughter, and a figure whose design represents the ultimate intersection of feminine biological veneration, art historical tradition, and calculated psychological manipulation. That is to say, she has massive melons, something every single Dark Souls player, regardless of gender, immediately notices, unless they've spec'd dexterity. And if you have spec dex, might I suggest pairing these gothic thigh-high programming socks with your next dex int run. But why, you ask? Why the massive rack? Why is my steak so juicy? Is another question you undoubtedly have. Why is my lobster so buttery? Nevertheless, I understand you completely, friend. We know very well of Dark Souls creator Hidetaka Miyazaki's love of some very specific high polygon models. And unfortunately, since Gwynevere's undoubtedly massive feet are tactlessly hidden away from our sight, we are left to wonder, why create such massive jogs as such a clear focal point? Allow me to yap, tastefully, of course, about the design and aesthetic choice of Gwynevere and her memories, the maternal imagery she presents, the Age of Fire propaganda she exudes, and why the visual contrast of her chamber and illusory Anor Londo with the rest of Dark Souls is psychological warfare led by Gwyndolin, her, let's say, brother. So firstly, before I allow my mind to run further away into unsubstantiated video essay interpretation land, Miyazaki has spoken at length about the game design decisions behind Dark Souls in multiple interviews, as well as specifically about Gwynevere and her outstanding looks. Interview snippet is up on Fextra Live. Just avoid the comment section for your own good, brother. Can I ask about Gwynevere? Because compared to the other female characters, she is very different, almost glamorous. The truth is, I just wanted to make a really big woman. Fuck yeah. I think it was a manga, in which there was a company president who joins an exclusive club to escape his stressful work life. And there's this giant woman who takes care of the club members, almost like a mother. Don't you think that's just the perfect situation? A giant, considerate, caring woman. The kind we all lost when we grew up. That's what I wanted to make. Talking of glamour, her breasts have nothing to do with me. They happen without my knowledge. It's all the artist's fault. I think I mentioned it earlier, but I always seek a certain refinement in all my designs. Really? Yes, but the artist had such a happy look on his face, I didn't have the heart to stop him. And for that, we thank you, Mr. Miyazaki. I certainly have a happy look on my face as well. And while her bosom may not have been intended by the creator, it serves the exact same purpose that he outlines in his own design process, and in fact, more than enhances it. Miyazaki even says this himself. I am never satisfied with design works that simply follows the design brief, so I often requested that the artist and designers add some of their own ideas. I believe that these ideas can enrich the area, if not the entire game. And me, oh my, is the entire game enriched. But as such, it is important to contextualize not just the environment in which she inhabits, but the game environment that you faced before meeting Gwynevere. It is difficult to notice while panic rolling, but the first half of the game, leading up until meeting Gwynevere, is either dreary and cold, or decaying and disgusting. Blighttown and the depths in particular stands out as the very worst, in more ways than one, of the harrowing rot you meet in Dark Souls. Anor Londo is much more impressive, but also much more sterile, like myself. It lacks the viscous decomposition of Blighttown and the depths, and the sheer decay and dilapidation of the undead burg. It is bright and sunny, but also cold and unfeeling. That is, until you finally encounter Gwynevere.
Thou hast journeyed far, and overcome much, chosen undead. Come hither, child.
The feel in her chamber stands in absolute contrast to everything you've encountered so far in Dark Souls. It represents a visual and psychological release valve. Not only does it have a bonfire, something scarce in Dark Souls 1, but Gwynevere also provides you with the ability to fast travel, the greatest gift ever bestowed. Until the sellsword twin blades in Dark Souls 3, of course. Everything, from her actions to how she looks to how her chamber is lit, ingratiates itself as safe and friendly from the very get-go. The massive scale of Gwynevere is not just a lore trait of the deities in Dark Souls, but a psychological tool that facilitates infantile regression. And no, you fucking degen, I don't mean age play. Biologically, where does the babe and the bro seek towards? The nipple, of course. It grants sustenance, life, and can be made into delicious ice cream. As childish and immature as it sounds, her fun bags aren't just fan service, although I do appreciate the service very much. But their sheer size and splendor is symbolic of an abundance of life and nourishment, the very thing that is missing in the Dark Souls world. What do the now immortal humans, the undead that we are, fear the most? Going hollow. What is the opposite of hollow? Need I say more? Look upon the hollowed humans, the shambling corpses, the desiccated visage of what awaits all of us the further from purpose and humanity we go. Now look at Gwynevere. She is the complete opposite. The opposite of hollow desiccation. The opposite of the dangerous world outside of her chambers. To us human-sized players, her reclining, generous pose on her massive cushion suggests a state of permanent repose and security, inviting us to feel small and cared for. No other Dark Souls 1 character lounges quite like her, and it is natural for our feelings to follow the lead of the general vibes surrounding us. If Big Mommy is lounging, safe and secure, smiling warmly, invitingly, promising rewards beyond our imagination, of course, we too will feel warm and safe. If Big Goat Demon immediately eats 3/4 of our health bar before our camera has even settled correctly, stress, and quite a lot of it. To this point, she is also strategically placed after the base game's most iconic challenge, the gank boss battle with Ornstein and Smaug. You arrive at her chamber in a state of exhaustion, unless you play intelligence, making you highly susceptible to a nurturing presence that immediately validates your struggle by declaring you the chosen undead. A giant, considerate, caring woman, the kind we all lost when we grew up, evoking a feeling that we can never feel again. Unless you're a manlet, of course. Miyazaki wanted an exaggerated mother figure, and that's what he got, not just from his reference manga, but also very much from the very earliest understanding of human symbolism. Gwynevere, in-game lore-wise, is or was the symbol of bounty and fertility in Lordran. Take a quick trip 30,000 years back and you will find almost the same striking figure in the Paleolithic figurine Venus of Willendorf, one of the most ancient sculptures in veneration of human fertility. In a world that is starving, hollowed, and decaying, Gwynevere's voluptuous design represents the visual shorthand peak of life and vitality. Her visual offering, as Venus proves, is ingrained in us from our very ancestral genetic makeup. If everything dangerous is either hollow and desiccated or bloated and disgusting, her blemish-free, thick countenance immediately ingratiates itself as something safe, something here in Dark Souls finally to be trusted. Unfortunately, she isn't. She isn't to be trusted because she isn't here at all. For those of you who haven't finished Dark Souls 1, get good, but two endings are available. Either you walk away, ending the Age of Fire and ushering in the Age of Dark Souls, or you link the flame and sacrifice yourself, rekindling the fire and delaying the inevitable. Speaking with Gwynevere, maintaining respectful eye contact of course, she beseeches you to link the flame at the end of the game, neglecting to mention the whole sacrificing part of course. She validates you as the chosen one, she gifts you the power of fast travel, all the while looking like all that. There is no one in the entire game who entices, not just with her words, gifts and warm vibe like Gwynevere. No one who looks anywhere close to her, except maybe Chaos Witch Quellac, which, I mean, hear me out, fellas. Anyway, so when she pushes in one direction, RIP Liam Payne, you would have loved the Silver Cat ring. Yes, of course, there is a good chance of us listening to her. She is the warmest, most inviting NPC in the entire game, but unfortunately, she actually isn't. Take a swing at her knockers and the truth will be revealed. Gwynevere has long since abandoned Anor Londo and her bountiful visage, and in fact all of the sunlight of the city was an illusion created by her femboy brother, Gwyndolin. Gwyndolin's only purpose is to fulfill the legacy of his father, Gwyn, and to direct you to sacrifice yourself by linking the flame and prolonging the Age of Fire, maintaining the monopoly of power in the hands of deities like himself. So why the honeypot? Propaganda and deceit. To convince you, a tired, dying undead, to sacrifice themselves, he needs to present a vision of a golden age worth saving. She is designed to be the ultimate reward, like Miyazaki says himself. Don't you think that's just a perfect situation? A giant, considerate, caring woman. By making her warm, radiant, and exaggeratedly hyper-feminine, Gwyndolin is essentially using psychological warfare to make you feel like you finally found a home worth sacrificing yourself for. Remember, chosen undead, do it for her. The visual shorthand is meant to be incredibly potent and heavy-handed here, since the levels of esoteric nonsense present in Dark Souls is already at peak levels. A lot of players, talking about myself as a teenager here, might not even understand what the hell is going on, praise Vati, but how she and her puppies look needs no enigmatic introduction, and she tells you clearly what your purpose is. Link the first flame, chosen undead. She is golden, warm, resplendent, comforting, bountiful, positively fertile, and completely exaggerated in her feminine presence. She is everything that the Dark Souls world we have experienced so far isn't. Her voluptuousness is the exact opposite of how the undead, including ourselves, appear when we are down on our luck. Her bust is the perfect situation in contrast to the rest of the Dark Souls world. The fact that such splendor, such opulence can still exist in the City of Gods must mean that the Age of Fire is worth saving, right? Of course it is all lies, but quite effective visual lies nonetheless. By tapping into these chest-focused ancient visual cues, Gwynevere's design bypasses any rational defenses we might have built up getting repeatedly crushed and spat out by the Dark Souls world, by appealing to our deep-seated evolutionary recognition of the nurturing maternal woman as both a sanctuary and, let's be honest, a commodified porn category. In the context of a world literally defined by hollowing, her voluptuousness serves as a visual counter-argument to the starvation and skeletal decay seen throughout the rest of the game. She is handcrafted from voice to looks to background music to make you simp for her on sight. For players actively seeking purpose and who may have found the choice between continuing the Age of Fire or ushering in the Age of Dark at the end of the game impenetrable, Gwynevere serving as a propaganda tool for why you should sacrifice yourself is decidedly penetrable. No esotericism necessary when we are deemed the chosen one by this big woman right here. This is exactly why Gwynevere looks as she does. Not just fan service, not just Paleolithic references, but an active choice by Gwyndolin to construct the most enticing visage possible for the chosen undead. How could you say no to the literal embodiment of fertility, bounty, and vitality in a land that is so completely bereft of it all? Well, you could, if you had the strength to do what must be done, and tear down the illusion of this failing age. But fuck me if I'm going to be running around in dark Anor Londo. Also, tits.
Thank you. Now watch this dry.
Alright, that was a video. Thank you so much for watching this far. I crave that average view time retention. Throw me a like for the algo, a comment for my eyes to see, and subscribe for more cromulent videos to come. Hopefully every Friday. Check out my support links down below and some of my videos on the screen right now, like this one on why Elden Ring might have too many bonfires. See ya!